According to a recent report, America is number one in something that we don't want to be number one in, and that would be child poverty. Now, according to some recent studies, and this is reported in Raw Story, America's wealth had grown by 60% in the last 6 years. Oh, great. We as a country, we as a nation are doing better. We picked up from the recession. We're doing good. We've increased our wealth by over $30 trillion. Great. Except that it's not great for the majority of Americans. I'm going to explain why. According to this report, a lot of that wealth, and according to other recent data and data over the last few years, a lot of that wealth hasn't been going back to regular Americans. It's been going to a very, very select few people in America. That is the top 10%, the top 0.1% specifically have been getting pretty much all of the gains from the recession, from all this economic growth. Fantastic. That leads to our current predicament, the fact that we are now a leader in child poverty. A UNICEF report says that the U.S. is one of the highest relative child poverty rates in the developed world. Children's material well-being is highest in the Netherlands and in the 4 Nordic countries, and lowest in Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, and the United States. So the former communist country blocks over in Eastern Europe have high child poverty rates, and America just happens to be within that group. Wow, that's something to be proud of. Now, let's break it down a little bit further. Now, this study says that over half of public school students are poor enough to qualify for lunch subsidies. Okay, and almost half of African American children under the age of 6 are living in poverty. So look at that. Over a half of all public school students are poor enough to get free lunches. That is sad. That is very sad. Now, we go into food stamps. Now, I've told you before, and the data has suggested before as well, that nearly half of all food stamp recipients are kids. Children, and they average about $5 a day for their meals, and this was before the Farm Bill. Now, you guys remember the recent Farm Bill that wanted to cut somewhere around $40 billion from the food stamp budget, and they settled on about $8.6 billion over a period of the next 10 years. Now, that was cut. The Democrats agreed with that. And Obama signed it. Okay, we got to get this farm bill going. We'll take $8.6 billion in cuts. And a lot of that came from the food stamp program, obviously. And that's now less. It equals out to less than $5 a day for those children who are on food stamps. That's a disaster. A complete disaster. Now, more stats that should be relatively depressing. Now, in 2007, about 12 out of 100 kids were on food stamps. Okay, the recession hit, all the gains flow to the top, and now we have 20 out of every 100 children are on food stamps. It's not because the food stamp program was drastically increased. Yes, we increased funding it during the recession, but that's because more people needed it, because more people fell into poverty. It's not because we increased entitlements, as Republicans would say. It's because we said, oh, look at all these people suffering. Let's put more money into the program temporarily, by the way, and help these people. And look, more people are on it because more people haven't recovered. The American people as a whole, we have not recovered. The wealthy have recovered. They took 100% of the gains. What's left? Nothing. Except for a more expanded welfare state. I thought conservatives were against that. Well, they are. Now it gets worse. It gets much worse. For every 2 homeless children in 2006, there are now 3. Look, homeless children, kids being homeless is bad enough on it is, but now we've seen an increase in homelessness. The report states that on a typical night in January, 138,000 children were homeless. Wow. And that's according to figures from the U.S. Department of Housing. Now, ironically, that's about the same number of households that have increased their wealth by $10 million per year since the recession. So as more kids have gotten homeless, the same amount have gotten even richer by $10 million a year since the end of the recession. Disaster. It gets worse, as I said. And this is sort of the final stat, and this has to do with childhood education. Now, they always tell us education is the best way to get out of poverty. We should have a good education. You know, we need to teach our kids. Kids are the future. Well, we are fucking over our future. Now, according to this report, the U.S. ranks near the bottom of the developed world in percentage of 4-year-olds in early childhood education. Now, early childhood education, they say, should be a primary goal for the future, as numerous studies have shown that preschool helps all children to achieve more and earn more through adulthood. This really, like, early childhood education sets you up better for the future. If you don't have that, you don't have as much of a chance, much of an opportunity. Now, we're supposed to be a country of opportunity. We give people the opportunity to succeed, and they do it through their own hard work. Well, we're not even giving kids a chance anymore because we're cutting childhood education. And we're giving tax cuts to the rich, we're giving subsidies to wealthy corporations, and we're bombing other countries instead of setting our children up, our own children up for success. We're doing it wrong. We're absolutely doing it wrong. And of course, the most disadvantaged children often do the best when given a head start, when they're actually given an opportunity through early childhood education. Now, we're going in the wrong direction, and this report shows that. I mean, one of the things that we cut was Head Start. We cut our early childhood education. We cut all that. We cut food stamps. But we increased money towards war, towards the Defense Department. We increase money given towards to the rich through tax cuts for the rich, and we wonder why our children aren't doing enough.